Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? I'm delighted to have Ox from the band out of the Netherlands called Lone Wolf. They just released a new album, HAZE WAVE, and we're going to talk about it today. Welcome to the show, Ox. How you doing?
Hey, Shane. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
It's my pleasure, man. Again, right before we started this, love the new album. Can tell a lot of hard work and passion went into it. I can tell when I listen to the songs, the passion that comes through. I can feel it in my bones. So you did something well. And I want to first off say thank you for doing that for me.
Oh, thanks, man. That's so kind.
So why don't you give me a rundown about how the band started? I know it was around 2016. You all came from other bands, but why don't you give me a quick rundown about how Lone Wolf became its own thing?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we started in 2016. We come from Rotterdam, the Netherlands, and it always had some quite vibrant punk rock scene going, especially in the early 2000s. And we all played in bands. The biggest, I think, of all were the Yapers. And they were a bigger punk rock band from the early 2000s. And that's how I got into punk rock. And a lot of bands evolved from them. And I played in Accelerators. Merel was another lead singer, played in the Bad Bites. And our drummer played in the Yapers. And our bands around 2015, 2016 started a little bit to slow down. And we were not ready to slow down, so we formed a new band. And that turned out to be Lone Wolf.
Well, I'm glad it did turn into Lone Wolf.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So we all come from from the same city, and yeah, we all played in similar punk rock bands, and we wanted to do something new, something a little bit more exciting and a little bit refreshing, and here we are.
Yeah. And you're 3 albums later, here you are, still doing it. So
Yeah, exactly.
now, when it comes to creating new music, how is you have an open democracy? Is it everybody just bringing everything they have to the table when you're starting to create new music and coming up with new tunes to put out an album?
I think yeah, it's we do all do our parts, and I write most of the songs. So mostly the melodies, some guitar parts, and then I bring it to the rehearsal room, and that's where I let everybody do their magic, do their thing. So everybody feels involved, and everybody has an idea, and yeah, feels involved in the band. I think that's important, and I think it really works with us. I'll never record anything with drum samples or come up with a guitar solo. I just make it as basic as possible, and so the others have a great idea or yeah, can bring in whatever they feel like or what they feel should uh, will bring more to the song.
Awesome. Now, when it comes to that creation of music, how many songs do you kind of put together to get it put out an album? I know a lot of artists will, you bring in 20 songs and you're going to pick your best 10 to 12. Is that it? Or do you just say, okay, I wrote 12 songs or 10 songs and this is what we want to do?
Yeah, basically, I write a lot of songs just on guitar. It's very basic on my phone, and I always try, like, I write something and I come back to it a week later, or sometimes even a few weeks later, and that's when I pick out the songs. Like, I think this one is great, or this one is a good melody, this one has a good chorus. So that's how I try to uh, yeah, that's how I choose the songs, and then I bring them to the rehearsal room, and then still a few will work, others won't. But basically, I'm not the guy who writes 40 tunes and then picks out the 10 best. I'm really more of, okay, this works, or this doesn't. I try to finish a song when I really feel like it can be a good song.
How is music a part of your life? Like, when did it start? As a child, did you grow up with a lot of music around? Did you have a musical family? How did it start for you?
I actually didn't have like a very musical family. I think I always liked music, but I especially started, uh, yeah, really feel like have a feeling for music when I was around 12 years old, and I felt like I wasn't very good in sports. I wasn't one of the popular guys in school, so I fell a little bit to the subcultures like skateboarding, kind of like that, and that introduced me more to punk rock. And yeah, when I found out about punk rock, that changed my life. I was like, wow, this is I don't know, it suited me somehow. I feel like this is where I belong. And then I saw a local band, like I said before, the Apers, and it's actually our drummer's band, and it was my first show I ever saw when I think I was 12 or 13 years old, and that's just blew me away. It's like, wow, these guys are just rocking. They're just friends, and they're rocking on stage. Like, this is what I want to do.
Having that local band for you to find is pretty awesome. And we talk about this a lot on the show, that community that punk rock always created was a community in and of itself, that everyone's allowed in. There was nothing pushing anyone out. If you liked punk rock and you felt alone or you felt you didn't belong somewhere, there was always a home for people in the punk rock scene. We'll take anybody. That's how I always looked at it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Come on in.
Yeah. Just last weekend, I was at a punk rock festival in Italy, actually, the Punk Rock Raduno, and it's amazing how everybody there is so nice, and nobody, I don't know, everybody can be themselves, and a lot of people I talked to all said like we feel so safe here. I talked to all kinds of people, all kinds of people were there, and everybody said like everybody's so nice, everybody feels so safe. It's just a great place and time to be. So it's amazing what punk rock can do for that. I love it.
Yeah, you're all there for the same reason, and that's to enjoy yourself, and you're there for the music, you're there for the camaraderie, you're there for each other, to enjoy each other at the same time of enjoying the music. And that's why I love punk rock so much.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Now, from hearing the Apers and starting to find your way into music, did you just stick clearly to, you found that community, so punk rock was it? This is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. What was it that led you to, because I know for me, I'm going to say, overseas in other countries, they always have these nice musical programs where you can go to a place. There's always a rehearsal studio. There's instruments. There's things to do. Was that like that for you growing up in the Netherlands? Was there a place for you to go when you wanted to start to learn to do something? And how did you learn how to do it?
Well, there's definitely getting to learn music is in the Netherlands is it's supported, and you can do it quite cheap. And there's a lot of schools and academies that will teach you how to learn how to play music, that they can make you form a band, and which I think is great. But I never really took part of it because there was such a vibrant punk rock scene in Rotterdam. I found people from my age also wanting to start bands, so we just started bands. We just started to play around. I had 5 bands before I started a band that had a real gig, for the first time. But it was just
what was the name of your very first band? What was
that's a good one. It was called Dutch Radio, and it was actually was my classmate on drums and me on vocals. That's just it. That's how we started. We just started writing songs.
Wow,
it's just so fun. I don't know, and then I think you learn from it as well. To play with other people, and you just. And back then it's still all about fun. You're not even considering playing a gig, you just want to make music. And then you feel like you're getting a little bit better, you're getting to learn other people, and then suddenly there's a gig coming up, it's amazing thing. We were really lucky to have like such a vibrant scene at that time, and also have just rehearsal places in the city where we could just go to. It's amazing.
What was it like the first time that you played in front of a stranger?
So scary. The first time, I remember I was really young, and I was just me on vocals, and I still have a photo from that show. I'm just standing still, just looking in front of me, and it was a one song. I think it was kind of a competition kind of thing, and it was crazy scary, but I was so proud of doing it, yes, we're finally doing it. Yeah, it's an amazing feeling.
And when you did that happen to just lead you to say, all right, that's it? Because for some people, they still struggle after their 10,000th performance.
Yeah.
But did that draw you in to just say, okay, I think this is something that I'm going to want to continue to do for a very long time?
Yeah, it just was something that I really, from a young age, just knew this gives me so much joy, and I just want to keep on doing this as long as I can. Yeah, it's amazing.
Out of all your performances so far in your life, do you have one that stands out for good or for bad that you'll just never forget?
Yeah, there's one that was a couple of years ago with Lone Wolf. We played a bookstore in Ottawa, and I don't know, just the people that were there. We were playing in this beautiful bookstore with friends, with people we knew, with Steve Adamic band, which was one of my favorite pop punk bands from Canada. And I remember just thinking, like, I'm here with my friends playing with this amazing band in the coolest bookstore. And I'm like, no matter how big or gigs get, or how many people it's not about how many people are there or how big the gig is. Like I thought that was just a magical moment. I was like, wow, this is just amazing. We're having a blast. People are having a blast. I don't know. It was just something special.
That's awesome. And you're coming to the States in October. You're playing Fest this year. I mean,
Yeah,
how's that like for you?
it's amazing. I think it's the best show we do every year, and this is the fourth time we're coming back for Fest. And I don't know, it's something. Also, that is something magical that it's in Gainesville, which is a small college town, and in one weekend, I don't know how many people, 15 or 20,000 punk rockers take over the whole downtown of the city.
Yeah.
And again, it's that camaraderie, that's that safe space that everybody's nice, everybody's cool. And yeah, we just have a great time every time we play there. So it's amazing that we get to do that as such a small. I always say, like, we're just a small Dutch punk rock band, and we get to play like festivals like that. It's amazing.
Well, listen, you're not a small, Dutch punk rock band. I mean, you get to play Fest, you get to go to Ottawa, play bookstores, and you get to be on the Hidden Tracks podcast talking about
for
music.
Sure, man.
So,
No, it's amazing. Yeah, we're just having a good time, I think that's what I really like about this band, is that we all just really enjoy playing together. And we're at this point that we have jobs that support our life good enough to give us free time to also tour a little bit, so that's amazing.
Well, that's what's important too, is when you find something that you love to do, having, a support system, whether it be your job supports you, your family supports you. I mean, it's really important. I mean, I feel the same way about what I do here. I mean, I have a job that helps me support my love, which is this show. So
yeah, cool.
It's having all that stuff around you and having that community it's a beautiful thing when you get down to it, and it stems from those punk rock roots, and because you're almost going to find where you need to be because of the way you are in your everyday life, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now when
sorry.
No worries. When it comes to the band, this is a question maybe hard for you to answer. Some people, they find it very easy, but if no one heard your band Lone Wolf and you met someone for the first time and you had to play them one song of yours, what song of yours would you play for them that would best describe the band?
I think it's a song of ours, you mean?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think I would play them, or that am I reconnected? Yeah. I think the second single we put out of our latest album, it's called Ready to Break. I think it gives I think it's really, just the way the song is built up, and the way the lyrics as well. I think it really is it's one of my favorite Lone Wolf songs that really sounds like what we do and what we stand for.
And would you say that's your favorite song you've ever released, or is there something different that means more to you? A song that you ever put out that just means something more than any of the other songs?
I think it's Ready to Break is probably the song that means most to me. And another one is a song from our last album that's called Something to Destroy, which is also, I don't know, they're kind of like bouncy and catchy punk rock songs with a little bit of a darker like lyric theme to it, and I think it's just really, it speaks to me. I don't know. It just makes, for me, it just make those two songs are like, wow, that we did something like that. It's amazing.
Now, when you first heard punk rock and you had the Apers, your local band that you were able to fall in love with, what other kind of bands did it drive you towards? What other bands, I guess, in your area or from around the world did you start to find yourself just going down this rabbit hole? Because punk has a very deep rabbit hole to find music and listen to music. Where did that start to lead you, and what were you listening to when you found it?
When I found it, I'm just gonna call it Ramones core for making it a little bit more easy to understand. I think the Ramones core was a pretty big thing going in Europe in the early 2000s when I got into punk rock. So a lot of bands around Europe were doing that, and that really got me more into it, like the Lookout Records. So we're talking Screeching Weasel, The Queers, Mr. T Experience, Groovy Goodies. Those were the bands that I really discovered back then. I was like, wow, this is really clicking for me. And I think other bands that were going on in Europe and still are today were bands like the Manges and also again the Apers. Those were the bands like wow, this is really something special.
Yeah, you bring up the Lookout Records. I'm actually reading the book, The Rise and Fall of Lookout Records, right now. I remember I grew up with Lookout being a huge part of my life, with Op Ivy, Crimshine, Screeching Weasel, Green Day's first two were on there, and just leading you down that path, and how it was so influential to so many bands around the world. Now talking to you, that played a huge part in your life, and it was such a small kind of indie label, really. I mean, that's all it was, and the reach that it had with the bands that it had was amazing. And it's sad that it's really not around anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Yeah, they just ran it out of a simple warehouse, and they did no marketing in the beginning. They just sold records. It's amazing what they did. Yeah, that's a great book. That's a great read too. I read it too. It's amazing.
Yeah, I just started. There's been so many awesome books, and on revolvermagazine.com. Look at me plugging something for no apparent reason, but they had a great sale on like all these books, and I was like, well, I'm just going to buy all of them.
Yeah, cool. Nice.
Now, other than punk rock in your life, is there any other style of music that you find yourself enjoying outside of the realm of punk rock?
Yeah, I think for the past 10 years, my music taste broadened a little bit, and or a lot. So yeah, especially when there's more like when we're talking about bigger bands like the Beatles are amazing. I really discovered like at one point I was like, okay, I should really just learn like where do all those bands get their inspiration from, like the Ramones or Screeching Weasel or the Queers, So I started listening to more of the oldies, and in the past 10 years I also got more into like Bruce Springsteen. I discovered that I was like, wow, this is a great songwriter too, and that led me to other stuff as well. I think also because a lot of punk rock bands, like the Menzingers, Gaslight Anthem, that came around 10 years ago.
I'm actually wearing a Menzinger shirt right now. While we're doing this interview.
Really one of my favorite bands. And because of that, I also just started listening to more what they were influenced by. So yeah, that really opened up another world for me.
Yeah, it's amazing finding out how, and you can almost sense it too. Like you say, Gaslight Anthem, Menzingers, Red City Radio, bands like that you can tell that their influence came from a Bruce Springsteen style of writing and music and tone. And I'm from New Jersey, so Bruce Springsteen has been shoved down my throat my entire life, and kind of put a little dissatisfaction to the Bruce Springsteen stuff. But again, I've said it a couple times on the show, when it comes to Bruce, when I was growing up, I didn't fucking understand it because it wasn't for me. It was it was for 30 and 40-year-olds. And when I'm 15, Bruce Springsteen's music means nothing to me because I don't get it. Yeah. And then now that I'm older, now I understand. Now I'm like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah, I think I had the exact exact same experience. I just needed to get a little bit older, maybe get a little bit more life experience to understand that kind of music. And now I love it.
Now, is there any music in your life that people would be really, really surprised that you like? Like, are you closeted EDM fan or Swifty or BTS? Like, is there something that you get a lot of enjoyment about that people would be really shocked to find out about?
Yeah, I just love good songwriters. So basically, Taylor Swift is I love her. What she puts out is amazing, and yeah, I don't know. There's also this Norwegian songwriter called Secret, which also just puts out amazing like synth pop kind of
Yeah.
kind of music that I don't know. I just love a good song. So then I don't really. Sometimes if the song is good, the song is good, and I don't mind the genre.
Yeah. Yeah, I think who'd I have on? I think it was Kenneth Ishik from Beeswax was on, and Sigrid he was like, "Yeah, that's mine." Like she's amazing. So
Yeah, she is really amazing, amazing songwriter.
now, what was the last song that you cried to?
Whoa, it's a good one, huh? I think last weekend I was at a like I said earlier, I was in Italy for a punk rock festival, and there were just there was a band there was a band, the Zadopex. They were playing, and they're a band from the UK, and I hadn't seen them for a couple of years, and they were also a band that started playing around those early years in those 2000s when I was getting into punk rock, and I just they were playing. They were having this. I don't know. They were playing ground level. All people were there. Everybody was singing along. Uh, and it was just an amazing experience that I noticed. That luckily I had sunglasses on, because it was during the day.
Yeah.
It was sunny, but I noticed like a little bit tear in my eyes because it was so magical at that moment. And I was like, wow, it just really. I don't know. It really got me at the moment. It surprised me really to have that, but it was amazing. It's amazing what the music sometimes can do, right? That you're just like, wow. It doesn't necessarily have to be a song but it was just the whole moment was just amazing.
It's those moments that are so beautiful and magical, or why it's so important. It's why I think music does what it does for so many people, is because you don't have those moments in anything else almost that you do in your life. I mean, other than if you're watching your child succeed or something like that. But music has its own way of hitting you that I haven't found anything in I always forget how old I am, but I'm in my late 40s. But I haven't found in that time anything else that does that for me, that gives me that quick, as soon as I hear a note or something, all of a sudden I get goosebumps all over my body.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's so
what's
weird.
going on?
And you can't pinpoint it, right? It just sometimes it just happens. You have a song that you could maybe have heard 1,000 times, and then still it could hit you like, wow, this is so amazing. I don't know. It's crazy. It's only
Yeah.
music that can do that.
And there's sometimes like I have certain songs that always do it for me. Doesn't
Oh,
matter
really? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when I put it on. It's certain songs that sometimes I want that feeling, or like I want to feel a certain way, and I have a couple songs that I know are going to do that for me. So I'll just put them on because I'm like, I need this right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, cool. Amazing.
Do you have anything like that when it comes to music that you find yourself, if you need a fix, or like you need to be happy, something you listen to, or if you just feel like you need to be sad, you have music that you turn to? Do you have anything like that you choose from?
Yeah, like I said, for me, it's really hard to pinpoint. I just really sometimes I'm just going through my record collection, and I feel like this is the record I need right now. And it just really, for me, it just I don't really have one particular album or song that does that for me. Sometimes it's just like I grab like On the Impossible Path from the Menzingers because I don't know, I just need it at that moment. But sometimes it could be like, I don't know, I really need a more loud hardcore record right now to get my frustration out. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't really have like one particular song or album that does that for me.
When you guys are driving around touring and you're all together, what's it like in the van for music? What is the committee choose to listen to? Who has control? And what is a constant that you're listening to when you guys are going around touring and playing?
So basically, most of the time, I'm the DJ. And I don't know. We listen to a lot of the more. I think on the last tour we listened to a lot of the recent punk rock that came out. So we're like the latest pop album has been on rotation, which I love. We also have we love bands like, I don't know, Dead to Me is one that really does well. Ramones is always good. Everybody loves the Ramones in our band. So that can always, that always works. So it's a bit of, I don't think we're rotating a little bit with the playlist, but yeah, we love to check out new records. That's what we do a lot.
And what's your biggest source for finding new music nowadays?
It's a good one. I think it's a little bit lame, but I think it's Spotify that really, just because it's so easy to access. Yeah. That just I'm just like release radar. I check it every week, and also also Instagram just really. Luckily, it still works. You know that I still get a lot of news from that to check it out. To I don't know, it just works. And I think the one thing I also really like on Spotify is the similar artists that just really works too.
Yeah, I like when, certain things on Spotify when, I mean, it doesn't happen often, but it happened recently where I was driving for almost 6 hours and it just curated all this music for me and I didn't skip one song for 6 hours.
Wow.
And it was just every second. And as I'm driving, I'm just like taking a quick screenshot of the band. I'm like, what? I'm like, what just happened? Like I went into this Spotify vortex where it was perfectly curated for 6 hours. And then I've been on a 40-minute drive and I have to skip like 40 songs. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like it's so crazy how it works.
Yeah. Wow. And was it like when you put on a band radio, that will curate songs for you? Was it like that, or was it just a playlist that you listened to?
So it started out. I was listening to one album from a band, and then it just went on from there. Like It just started putting everything together. And I was like, "What the hell is going on?" It was a great moment,
cool.
to have all that and just be like, and finding new stuff and. It's so hard too. I feel bad because it is easier nowadays to just skip through something.
Yeah, I know, right? I love listening to full records though still. And for me, that's still a thing that I don't know. I check out. I really notice that I don't come back to a band for just one song. For me, it has to be the record that has to do it for me.
Well, that's the hard part too nowadays is because some bands only put out singles, right?
Yeah, so true.
All of a sudden I'll hear something that I really love and enjoy and I want to go listen to everything. And then they're like, oh, there's only 3 songs out and they've been a band for 3 years. And I'm like, what the, but how do I go back to them? I can't because there's nothing else for me to listen to. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's funny. No, and I still love records. Also, now I was thinking about how do you discover new music. I also still love year lists, of the best albums that came out.
Yeah,
I love how Brooklyn Vegan always asks other bands to give their top list of the year, and I always go through it, just checking out a few songs. Hey, maybe there's something there I missed, and I think that's a good way to find new albums too.
Without a doubt. I mean, that's one of my favorite parts of our show. At the end of the show, we have our weekly threes. They were just 3 things artists are listening to and 3 things we're listening to because it gives people an opportunity to hear what other people think is good, right? It gives you something where I also like the fact that it gives you to be like, well, why do they like that after listening to it? You know what I mean? You're like, well, trying to find a redeeming factor in something you may not like, but somebody else is in love with is also pretty awesome to find out.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, How vibrant is the music scene still going over in the Netherlands?
It's quite tough. Um, for for our Pacific punk rock, it's quite it's a quite tough crowd. But on the other hand, the music scene is still very much alive. The post punk is really big in Rotterdam, so there are a lot of great post punk bands coming from Rotterdam, and also a lot of those great bands are coming to Rotterdam. So that's good, you know. It just it goes with waves. I don't know, but yeah, the Netherlands is so small, and I'm amazed that it's so many. There are so many festivals, so many venues. So I'm I'm still happy that bands still come to the Netherlands to play all the time, which is great.
And have you seen like a seismic shift to, different styles of music that have taken over, what once was the vibrant punk scene there? Like, is there a certain style of music, or is it just everyone's trying new and different things to find their way in music?
Well, yeah, I think like especially post punk is becoming really big in Rotterdam. All of a sudden, there are like I don't know 10 post punk bands that are playing, and I also think because yeah, like I said, it comes in waves. In the early 2000s, there were all of a sudden there were all kind of Ramones core bands, and then there was nothing for a couple of years, and now there's a big post punk scene. I don't know. I love it. It's great that there's at least a scene, you know, that still goes and that young people show up for. It's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Now, where's your favorite place that you've traveled and felt the most comfortable of playing a show and just felt the most energy of a punk rock show?
I think well, Fest by far is the best thing we we've played, and the festival named earlier Ponco Raduno in Italy, just because everybody's so nice, everybody's so supportive, and I really noticed that America, North America, Canada, and the United States are maybe the venues are not like the I think the venues and are a little bit more the hospitality is a little bit bigger in Europe. Uh, for instance, in providing drinks, food, stuff like that. But the amount of support by buying merch, people coming up to you, I think is bigger um, in what I've noticed in United States and Canada, which is an amazing experience.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people truly understand, and I try to push it as much as I can here, that for a band to nowadays actually make any semblance of money, or and not even making money, but make their money back from touring, is if you buy their merch. That's really the only way to do it, because
Oh yeah,
no
for
one's
sure.
getting no one's getting paid thousands upon thousands from a record label, or thousands upon thousands from Spotify or Apple Music or Deezer or anywhere. And no one's making their money by their creation of music. The only way they're doing it is by creating great music that brings people out to buy your shirts, buy your albums, and do things like that. And we really encourage that a lot, because that truly is, if you want a band to stick around that don't have a rich family, it is by supporting them. And I think everyone does a really good job of that, and understanding that, and wanting to be a part, and wanting to own something, and saying, hey, thank you. And that's just a way of saying thank you for what it is you do.
Yeah, no, yeah, well said. I think so too. I think that's what we really noticed when we toured Canada last May, and we went to Fest last year. It's like people were so supportive and buying merch, coming up to us. You know, it's yeah, really great.
In your life, do you have like a favorite band? I know it's really hard. Like, I have two constants that, like, someone asks me, and I'm like, it's one of these two that I would say if I was ever asked what my favorite band was. I usually look at it as a band that never lets you down whenever they had put out music. But do you have any band in your life like that?
For me, it was the Ramones. When I was somebody asks what's my favorite band, is the Ramones, just because their output is so great. They've been so influential on a whole, like the whole punk rock scene. So which I think is amazing. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite band. And from the recent years, I think Menzingers had like the most impact on me. I think it's amazing that they're just, I don't know, regular dudes who make amazing music and who made it. They do it for, I don't know, it's their job. They live from it. They tour all the time. They put out amazing records. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't stopped touring since COVID like opened back up. It's been crazy to see the amount of touring they have done.
I know.
From the moment everything opened back up, I constantly see them because they're not that far away from me. Where they're from, so that they're constant rotation from their home. And for me to watch a small band from Scranton, Pennsylvania, come to where they are, sit here wearing their t-shirt while I'm doing a show, like that's the kind of stuff that it's crazy. At one point, I think I saw them 4 times in 6 weeks because it was just this rotation of how they were doing it, and they're still doing it. And getting to see them play bigger venues, and then getting to see them play in a 175 cap room still is like, it's awesome to have that. Like, and they go back to that. And I love bands that are always like, hey, yeah, we can sell out a 5,000 cap room, but we also want to play to our 175 fans in a smaller room, because we're going to get maybe better energy from that smaller room, which is awesome to see a band be willing to do that and not just be like, no, we've reached this cap, we can sell this out all the time, for 5,000 people. We're only going to do that from now on. But they don't. They're just like, no, we're going to play wherever the fuck anybody wants to see us, which is amazing.
It's really cool, really cool. Yeah, they just played. We unfortunately missed it because we played the next day, but we played this festival called Booze Cruise in Hamburg in Germany. And they played this, I don't know, they played the beer garden, maybe, I don't know, man, how many people fit in there, maybe 500, 600, and they can play at least 1,500 to at least 1,000 capacity venue in Germany easily.
Yeah.
And I just love that they just decided, no, we just want to play this cool punk rock festival in Hamburg, we're just going to do it. And that's amazing.
It is to watch bands still care about what they do, and it's kind of how I feel about it by the way they do things, is because they still care about what it is they do, and they understand the people that are supporting them and wanting to give back. And I love watching bands wanting to do that.
Yeah, amazing. And they just recorded a record in between too, right? And then they're still touring. They recorded a record and then they came straight to Europe to do another tour. It's crazy. I don't know. Amazing.
All right, here's a tough question. So the world's going to end in 5 minutes. Meteor's going to crash into the earth, and you have to listen to one song before it all ends. What song would you listen to?
Okay, I'm just going to do the first thing that pops in my mind, and it's going to be Menzingers because we've been talking about it. So it's going to be Menzingers Gates from On the Impossible Past. It's my favorite song of them.
Awesome. That was fast and easy. I like that. Now, you just released a new album. It's brilliant. How has the feedback been so far for you, and how have you felt about the reaction to your latest album?
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. People been coming up to me, been sending us messages on our socials about how they love the album. Everything's been very positive. So yeah, I'm super happy that how it turned out and how people are reacting to it.
If there's one thing that you could do, or let's say one place that you could play because of your music that you haven't yet, what would it be, or where would it be that you would want to, your dream place of playing at?
Oh, it's a good one. So where I haven't played yet, or it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Right. Then it's definitely Fest is always is our top one for sure. If I could only do one more show, it would be Fest.
That's pretty awesome. And the fact that people who may be listening right now who don't know what Fest is, as Ox said earlier, they take over a town and it's just bars and little venues and fields, and there's music going on everywhere. You just walk through the town, you walk into a door, and there's a band playing. It's just, and you don't always have your set place of where you're going to play. There is a main stage for the headliners, but it's just this whole town is taken over by music, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And I love it that there's, even if you're competing, which I don't love as a word, but with one of the headlining bands or on the main stage, there's still people watching all the smaller bands too. There's almost no band that plays to an empty room. I love that.
No, and that's the community, and that's what music does, and it brings people together. I think it's the only thing that can truly bring people together and make everyone in that room feel the same way, right? I don't think there's anything else that does that, and that's why it's so special and important.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to before we get into our weekly 3 segment, right now I'd love to give you an opportunity to tell everybody what it is, how to find all your stuff, what you're doing, how to pay attention to everything that Lone Wolf is doing, like all your social handles and all that, and your websites. I'd love to give you the opportunity to tell everybody what it is, if you know them.
Yeah, for sure. It's easy. We are Lone Wolf. You can find us, wearelonewolf.com, and on Insta, Facebook, YouTube, We Are Lone Wolf. That's the place to go to check out where we play, our music videos. I don't know, everything about us.
Awesome. Well, we're going to throw those out when this episode premieres as well. So, before we get into our weekly 3s, I want to say it again. Thank you for the music you've created. Thank you for what it is you're doing as an artist. We need bands such as yours to just keep thriving and keep creating what you're doing. So we have something to look forward to every day. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, for having me on the show, and thank you for doing this as well, for promoting bands. It's amazing.
Well, we try to do our part. Our main goal is to get you one new listener at a time, and that's all we want to do.
That's a really good goal. I love it.
So right now we're going to go into our weekly 3 segment. It's 3 things that you're listening to right now that you would like people to listen to as well.
All right. One band is a band, they're from Belgium. They're called the Price Doefkes. It's Price as PRICEDUEFKAS. Price Doefkes, and they're got a song called, I gotta say it right. Let me look. It's an amazing song, and it's called Send It. Check them out. PDS, Send It.
Got it.
And another one I'm listening to at the moment is, I should have I don't know, how do you call it? Looked this up before.
Prepared,
yeah. Let me look. Another band I've been listening to lately is from Portland, Maine. They're called The Borderlines, and they just put out a new record. Right now, we're touring with them in the States, in the East Coast, in New York, Boston, and they have an album out called Keep Pretending, and one of the songs called How Many Hours.
Awesome. All right, and number 3.
Number 3 is a band from Germany. They're called Eaten by Snakes. And their song is called Peace and Love.
Nice. All right. My 3 for this week. My first one is a band called Arms Akimbo. That's Arms, ARMS, AKIMBO. The name of the album is East LA ETC, so etc. The next band is a band called Blonde Shell. That's not Bombshell. It's Blonde Shell. BOLONDESHELL. And it's a self-titled album, Blonde Shell. That's number 2. And number 3, basically because I just saw them for the first time in I don't know how many years, but they were playing the 25th anniversary of their album Frame and Canvas, is Braid. Braid, Frame and Canvas. That's what's been on my rotation.
Nice.
But Ox, thank you again so much for being here. Thank you again for what it is you do as an artist. And, I hope our paths cross in the physical sense at some point soon, so I can shake your hand and tell you exactly how much what you do really means to me. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for all your music, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks, Shane. Thanks for having us. Been a blast talking to you.
Well, everybody, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to Lone Wolf, and have a great fucking time. Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.